Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys. Friday, April the 4th. Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith are with you. Alex is here. Yeah, he got done his taxes early, so he's able to join the show. Perla was supposed to fill in for Alex. He is still joining the show, but he's running a little late. He'll join us in just a bit as well. A Friday card with only 3 games, but I'm telling you what, there's a lot of intrigue and a lot of fascination behind every game on the card tonight. You got Detroit battling for their playoff lives. You've got Minnesota and the New York Islanders, which is kind of like a playoff game for both teams. And it's especially a huge game for the Islanders. Feels like one more loss, they could be cooked. And, of course, the chase to pass Wayne Gretzky continues for Alex Ovechkin. He's 3 away from the record, and there is that chance he gets all 3 tonight against Chicago, who, as we know, defensively have had their issues. So lots to look forward to, even though there are only 3 games on the card for this Friday. Thanks to everyone that was on the Betcast last night that is a Patreon member that joined us either tuning in or on the stream in the YouTube chat. It was a lot of fun, as it always is, and it was a pretty solid live betting night overall. An up and down overall betting night as far as the pregame bets are concerned. And, of course, as always, we'll recap last night's action. It was a busy slate as usual. The games weren't nearly as compelling last night as they've been the last few nights, but there were still some interesting results that we saw. The Montreal Canadiens further their chances of making the playoffs with a 4-1 win over the Boston Bruins last night, and it could have been worse if not for Jeremy Swayman. Montreal was clearly the better team, outshot the Bruins 32-19. It was a very solid performance from them overall. And again, Jeremy Swayman with one of the better saves of the year with his save on Carrier in the second period, sprawling and leaping out and getting the glove on a puck that looked like it was going to be going into that wide open net. So it ended up being a 4-1 win for Montreal in that game. We did cash a live second period over. Those were very good once again to us on the Betcast last night. A lot of our profits came from those second period overs that we hammered. Boston, Montreal was one of those that came through, as was Tampa Bay, Ottawa. And you got to give Ottawa credit, and especially Linus Ullmark. Terrific down the stretch to hold Tampa Bay off and allow Ottawa to get that 2-1 win. So it was one of those games where disappointing pregame results, but we did hit the second period over live on the Betcast, which was great. Tampa Bay can't be that upset about the way they played. I thought they had all kinds of chances. The puck just didn't go in for them, and Ullmark definitely had a hand in that. A big 2 points for Ottawa. They also get a lot closer as far as getting into the playoffs are concerned. And then Colorado with the 7-3 win against Columbus. That was disappointing because Columbus had the really advantage of Colorado's travel situation and the back-to-back situation, but the defense crumbled, and Elvis Merzlikins was Elvis Merzlikin, as we talked about on the Betcast. It was not a good second period. If you look at the turning point in the game, the Jackets were up 3-2. They had scored twice in the second. They looked like they had gained momentum. And then Charlie Coyle's goal can't go in. It's under the arm. He's got to stop that shot. No question. Merzlikins has to have that. And that ties the game. And then the Parker Kelly shot after that to give Colorado the lead was just as bad. Hideous goal to give up. And it took the wind out of Columbus. It took the wind out of the crowd at Nationwide Arena, and they never recovered from that. And then to make matters worse, Columbus took a late penalty in the second period, and Colorado scored on the power play to make it 5-3, and it felt like it was good night at that time. And then, of course, the game goes on. They get 2 more goals early in the third to get to 7-3, and I like Elvis Merzlikins. He just says, you know what, I've had enough. See ya. He basically, it sure looked at to me watching it live. He just said, I've had enough, and pulled himself, because Dean Evison had not pulled a goalie at all this year one single time. And I think at that point, Merzlikins said, all right, I've had enough. I don't have it tonight. And off he went. And of course, Tarasov finished the game, but by then it was too little too late. But credit to Colorado. You see how dynamic their offense is. Terrible situation for them having to fly to Columbus the morning of the game. And they ended up getting the 7-3 win. Took advantage of, again, Not a good enough goaltending from Elvis Merzlikins in that second period, especially. The Dallas Stars roll past Nashville 5-1 thanks to a commanding third period. They were in a battle in the first two periods, and they did not really play well in the first, not their best anyway in the first two periods. But boy, they played a great third, 12-3 in shots. The floodgates opened against useless Onanen, who had a couple of bad goals he gave up. But nevertheless, you give Dallas credit for capitalizing and converting on those chances, and they end up with a 5-1 victory over the horrendous Nashville Predators in that game. So great stuff. Great stuff from Matt Robinson as well. Matt Duchene, bargain bin special, over 1.5 points at plus 320. He ends up cashing that. A couple of bargain bins hit. One of mine cashed, which we'll get to in a little bit in last-second fashion or last-minute fashion, if you will. Great game between the Penguins and the Blues last night. Kind of what we thought. The Blues would be pushed by the Penguins. It would not be an easy game for them. They had a 4-2 lead, but credit to the Penguins. Battled back, got the game tied. And what a time for Rutger McGroarty to score his first goal with the Pittsburgh Penguins in a dying seconds of the third period to tie that game. But St. Louis, again, with an overtime victory for the second straight game as they get the power play goal in overtime with Robert Thomas. Just a phenomenal shot past Jari. And the Blues make it 11 straight wins with the 5-4 overtime win, and they are ever so closer to the playoffs. But not all good news for the St. Louis Blues. Our guy, we all love him, Dylan Holloway, injured in that game, did not return. Jim Montgomery's latest update earlier today, speaking to the media, said he's out for the weekend. They don't know the severity just yet of Dylan Holloway's injury, and obviously this is of utmost importance, this bit of news for Blues fans, because of just how important and what a big critical piece he has been to this Blues resurgence here this season, and in particular during this stretch where they've made this great run into a playoff spot. So obviously that's the concern, is Dylan Holloway moving forward, his status. The LA Kings with a 4-2 win against Utah. They were fast asleep for half this game, but Utah could not convert on their chances. LA just hung around, and eventually they took the lead in the first period. Utah tied it, but then a couple of early third period goals, Fiala and Moore, within 1 minute, ended up giving LA the lead. And then Darcy Kemper, very solid again. Just absolutely brutal, though, if you had the under in this game, especially at 5.5. And it turned into a loss for you, because this was 1-1 going into the third. It was 3-1 LA with about 2 minutes left. Doughty makes it. Actually, it was actually only 2-1, 3-1 actually, and then 4-1 into the empty net from Doughty. And then with just seconds to go on the power play, Jamie McBain for the Utah Hockey Club with 20 seconds left makes it 4-2, and the game ends up going over the total. So pretty tough beat if you had the under in that Kings and Utah game. Calgary, great win, 4-1 against Anaheim, keeping their faint playoff hopes alive. They are really going to need to be cheering hard for the Islanders tonight to do them a favor and hopefully keep Minnesota from getting no points or any points in that game, I should say. So they become big Islanders fans tonight. Calgary's doing their part, but they're at the point now where they're running out of games left. They need help. We'll see if they get that help from the Islanders tonight. But Calgary with a 4-1 win there against Anaheim. Winnipeg, just a complete and utter dud of a performance from the Vegas Golden Knights last night. They get shut out by Eric Comrie. That's right. Eric Comrie was doing the shutout, not Connor Hellebuck against them. And Winnipeg gets the 4-0 win. But credit to the Jets. They didn't play well against LA, and they responded. That's a sign of a good team. So credit to Winnipeg. And I think they finally figured out, hey, we got to start pulling up our bootstraps again, because the Dallas Stars are right on our heels for first place in the Central. So big win there for the Jets, 4-0. Terrible performance from Vegas. Very interested to see how they respond following that game, because I know Bruce Cassidy was none too pleased after the game with the way his team performed. And then in the late night hours, Edmonton 3-2 over San Jose. Kind of disappointing, because we had the first period over, San Jose to score in the first. That was great, but we don't get the full game team totals, either team total for San Jose or the full game over, which it turned into one of these very low event third periods by design for Edmonton, because Leon Draisaitl left the game due to injury and did not return. And it felt like once they got the 3-2 lead, it was, let's try to, shut this game down, get the 2 points, and move on. And that's kind of the style of play they took on. Credit to John Massey, who jumped on under 7.5 live on the bet in that Edmonton-San Jose game, which cashed. So Edmonton gets the win 3-2 to wrap up the night. The betcast was great. We cashed some live bets. The company is always solid, and we thank everyone for joining us. And we want to remind you, we got 2 more Patreon exclusive live betcasts lined up next week, Tuesday and Thursday. So make sure you join us. And if you're not a Patreon member and you missed this one, still plenty of time to get on board. We have 2 more Patreon betcasts coming up next week on Tuesday and Thursday. Alex, your thoughts on last night?
Yeah, just kind of a general overview of everything. You look at the results last night, and it kind of really, reflects and indicates where teams are right now. When you look at that matchup with St. Louis and Pittsburgh, St. Louis, once again hanging on to grind out and get another win. They're 11th in a row. There's a reason why this team is sitting in a playoff spot. Because they don't quit. They just fight hard, and how they played that game last night showed just kind of how they played throughout the season. Look at LA beating Utah 4-2. It's just a gung-ho kind of an effort where this is a team that's starting to really sharpen their sword, in my opinion. We talked about how they look great at home, but they're a little rusty on the road. Get a win on the road. Get all the wins you can on the road, even if it's a team that's out of the playoffs like Utah. That's good momentum to have moving forward. Yeah, Edmonton, another win where that should have been a blowout. Romanov did make some quality saves, but Edmonton kind of just sat back on the heels a bit. Of course, Draisaitl getting bumped up. That's never a good sign either. Of course, it's the second time now where you've seen him leave in a game with an injury. So that always kind of, really kind of zones in and focuses Edmonton a little bit. And that was kind of why the sales may have been taken out of them, but they still get the win, get the 2 points. And it's just important to see that with a lot of these teams. Winnipeg, 4-0 shutout against Vegas, and that's scary. When you have Eric Comrie shutting down a quality team like Vegas, who I think Vegas are going to have some troubles in the playoffs. But this is Winnipeg. This is a good sign where you're getting quality, from everybody throughout the lineup, both goaltenders, all your defensemen. There's a reason why they're the best team in the league right now, and why they're on pace to win the President's Trophy. So that was the biggest takeaway. Like I said, we had some great live bets last night. A couple of things, fell short too as well, but. Like I said, we're sharpening our swords as well, getting ready for the betcast coming up this week, and certainly getting ready for all the live action that'll be taking place during the playoffs.
Playoffs are less than 2 weeks away. We cannot wait. Looking forward to that. All right, let's get into Friday's card. We will begin with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Detroit Red Wings. We've got Carolina minus 190 road favorites, 6 the total, shaded to the under. It's almost a must-win every single game from here on out now for the Detroit Red Wings, as the out-of-town scoreboard has not been kind to them the last few weeks, or the last few days, I should say. They still remain a decent amount back of that second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference, held by Montreal at 81 points after they win another game last night against Boston. Detroit now 6 points out, 6 points back of Montreal. They do still have a game in hand on Montreal, but they got to make the most of it. Here tonight and moving forward against this Carolina Hurricanes team. We'll see if they are able to get a critical win here. Obviously, that's been an issue for the Detroit Red Wings moving forward. Cam Talbot will get the start here for the Red Wings in this game. And to his credit, he's the reason they got a point against St. Louis. It was one of his better games. He faced 37 St. Louis shots. And ended up with a 2-1 overtime loss to the St. Louis Blues in that game. We will see if Detroit can bounce back. They did beat Boston at home 2-1, lost to Ottawa 4-3 on home ice, beat Vegas 3-0 on home ice, 7-3 Buffalo. But again, they have to have this, because with Montreal winning and piling up the points, there is just very little wiggle room right now here for this Detroit Red Wings team. The problem is they're playing a very good Carolina team, coming in here winning 3 in a row against Montreal, the New York Islanders, and the Washington Capitals. Not only 3 in a row, but 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Carolina Hurricanes going into this game. We'll see if they can keep the winning ways going here on the road against Detroit. Certainly when it comes to Carolina, they walloped the Washington Capitals the other night, 5-1. They really feasted on a great spot there with Washington playing Boston. obviously, the night before. Carolina able to take advantage of that. We will see if they can maintain it. They've owned Detroit in this game. 6 consecutive wins over the Detroit Red Wings for this Carolina Hurricanes team. And you know what's amazing about the 6 games, the 6 straight wins? They've held Detroit to 2 or less. This is why this is a conflict game for me, because I don't know if I trust Detroit to beat a good team. I simply don't. But they are playing this game like they need it. It's a must. You got to think whatever effort and energy you've got in the tank, you leave it all out on the ice tonight in this game. If you're the Detroit Red Wings, the question is going to be, will it be enough? My concern here with Carolina is the guy in net, and it's not the guy that I'm normally concerned about, which is Freddie Anderson. It's Pyotr Kochetkov starting tonight. I'm concerned about him. He has not been playing well the last few starts. He got lit up in his last start, and it was not good by the Islanders. There was a game where he gave up 7 as well just recently. I have not loved the way Kochetkov's form has been of late. When you look at it, the overall numbers have been solid, but you look at these last few starts, the Islander game, they won 6-4, but he gave up 4. They lost to Nashville. That's right. The lowly Predators, 3-1. He gave up 3 goals on just 16 shots in that game. And then the LA Kings game on the road. Now, the whole team was lousy. I don't want to put that all on Kochetkov, but 7 goals, not pretty. And at the moment, he is costing himself, I think, the chance to be the Game 1 playoff starter for this Carolina Hurricanes team. Because I think now it is probably going to be Freddie Anderson again at this point in time. So this is a tough game. I don't fully trust Detroit, but man, they're the team that need the points way more than Carolina. Carolina's locked into where they're at in the standings. I want to really take Detroit. I want to take Detroit. I just don't know if I can. I want to take the team total because Kochetkov's given up a minimum of 3 and a lot of starts recently. And Detroit, other than the Boston game and on home ice, they have more often than not gotten to 3 goals. So it is kind of appealing over 2.5 team total on Detroit, but even then, I have a hard time with this Red Wings team right now, trusting them against the better foes, and this is one of those. At the same point in time, I kind of want to take my chances on Detroit getting the 3 goals against Kochetkov with his bit of a downturn in form recently. So I haven't moved on it yet. Don't know if I will, but the closest I am to betting something in this game would be Red Wings team total over 2.5. But I don't know. Again, I don't know if I will. Alex, what do you think here? Carolina, Detroit.
Yeah, I lean with the over 5.5 minus 120 that's available at FanDuel. Shop around, like there's some 6s if you like unders. Just grab a 6. But if you like that over, that 5.5 at 120, like I said, Kochetkov's been iffy at times of late, so you can't really trust him as much as you would like to. We know about Cameron Talbot, so this is a game where, and of course, if Detroit gets down, they're going to have to press offensively. So they might put themselves in a position where they need to score goals. I don't see this being a 2-1 kind of a drag out fight. If anything, this will be more of a 4-3, 5-3 kind of a game. So give me that over 5.5 minus 120. It's the only bet I have right now.
There you go. I don't mind that. That's a solid. I think it could start off a little bit slow. I think Detroit. The one thing about Detroit, these last 2 games, and this is maybe Todd McClellan saying, our defense has stunk most of the year. We've got to try to play tighter as a 5-man unit on the ice. Well, they've done that 2 games in a row. The Boston game and the St. Louis game both stayed way under the total. So that's why I'm looking at more of a live over in game. Maybe it does start off slow.
Right.
Second period over could be in our wheelhouse if it's one of those classic scoreless first period type of situations. And we know how good those have been. So definitely a live target for me with an over.
But not a first period over game. Like you say, this is definitely one you want to wait for.
No, Detroit first period overs have definitely cooled off, and we know Carolina's not always a great first period over team. They were the other night, but that was more about the team we're about to talk about, Washington, and the crazy first period over run that they have been on, no question. All right, as far as props go for this game, with the Hurricanes and the Red Wings, there's not a whole lot. Jankowski is someone that I've talked about a lot. So just a small bet with him because he's obviously had a little bit of a surge here since he's joined the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll see if that can continue here going into this game. But something to keep in mind for the Detroit Red Wings. This is one of those games where it feels like a Larkin game. He's the captain. He's a guy that always seems to show up. I know Kane and DeBrincat certainly are a threat. Casper, the friendly betting ghost, is always someone I've taking a shot with here for Detroit as far as goal props. But I think this is more about the captain, Dylan Larkin. This is a game made for him. You got to have it. It's a got to have it game for the Detroit Red Wings. And Dylan Larkin is often one of the, and Jackson Blake's probably a good one again, as Robert says, for Carolina. Like I said, starting to heat up just like that. Dylan Larkin is usually a guy that you can count on in these games. Win or lose, you're going to get a good Dylan Larkin usually in these kind of games. All right, next up, we've got Chicago and Washington. The chase for history for the Great Eight. Alex Ovechkin continues 3 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record in the NHL. Washington minus 400 home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Logan Thompson hasn't been great lately, and of course injured in the last game apparently against Carolina, and it ended up being Charlie Lindgren taking over. Spencer Carberry announcing earlier today he'll miss a couple of games this weekend, trying to get Logan Thompson back to 100% health. We'll see how quickly he will be back. But for now, it'll be Charlie Lindgren, at least for the next couple of games, starting in net for the Washington Capitals. Generally, we don't I don't, and Alex as well, we don't love Lindgren nearly as much as Logan Thompson. But I think it's been closer, the gap between them lately, because Thompson's not been nearly as good as he was a month, 2 months, 3 months ago. And Lindgren's actually on a streak of giving up 3 goals or less now in 7 straight appearances for the Washington Capitals. So he hasn't been that bad. We'll see how he fares here in this game. Chicago, obviously, goes to Washington, coming off the 5-1 loss, Washington to Carolina the other night. Chicago, a hard-fought but really tough shootout loss to Colorado on Wednesday night, where they had the lead late and, of course, tied it Colorado in the dying seconds. And then, of course, in the shootout, Colorado got the victory there. We'll see if they can bounce back from that. There's and we've talked about this with Chicago, it's a struggling defense. A lot of it is because it's just a very young and experienced blue line. I mean, you look at it, when Alex Vlasic and Connor Murphy's the guy that's been around the longest, but, even Alex Vlasic, other than those two guys, I mean, Sam Rinzel, Wyatt Kaiser, Levshinov, Korchinski's now back in the defense for the Chicago Blackhawks as well, back on the blue line. It's still a very young group. They're going to make mistakes. They're inexperienced. They need seasoning. They need more games under their belt to continue to, bolster themselves as far as NHL defensemen and NHL caliber defensemen. They just need more time, and that's why they're going to have rough nights. And this could be a rough night because Washington is going to be trying to get this record for Ovechkin, sooner rather than later. Now that they're so close, 3 goals away from the record with, a couple of weeks left in the season, it's all hands on deck to try to get it here going into this game for the Washington Capitals. They are coming off a loss. They're not a team I'm interested, obviously, laying this price with. And the one thing I will say about Washington is, if you go back and look, they're in that system here where it's a minus 400 favorite and a situation where, those big-time favorites in this price range have often given up a goal in the opening period of the game. And the one thing we'll say about the Chicago Blackhawks, one of the strengths of this Hawks team the last month or two and most of the season, pretty good at getting on the board in the opening period of a hockey game. So I'm going to jump in with Chicago, goal in the first period. Again, that is it's a solid bet. I think on the BetCast last night, if I'm not mistaken, our guy Jonathan Davis said the record of teams up against minus 400 favorites this season scoring a goal in the first period, it's happened 19 out of 24 games. That's pretty damn good. 19-5 for a big underdog against a minus 400 favorite scoring in the first period. 19-5, 19 out of 24 times it's happened. So Chicago to get a goal in the first period, I do like that clearly in this game. You get also pretty good price with it as well because they're such a huge dog. That's what's great. It's in the minus 115, minus 120 range here with the Blackhawks to get one in the first period. Obviously, we're taking the first period over. That's a no-brainer. Washington with this consecutive game, first period over streak. This was a team that went through a big-time heater earlier in the season with first period overs. And now here they are going through another first period over run. 6 straight first period overs. How about 20-4 is the run to the first period over for Washington in their last 24 games. So it's a first period over spot for me here. Chicago to get a goal in the first period. A little smaller on the full game over with the intention of getting something better in game than the current 6.5s that are out there. And yes, I dabbled in, and I'm sure that's going to be a popular bet, the hat trick prop for Ovi. I did, including last goal here tonight in this game. But I dabbled in it, and the hat trick prop is anywhere in the 25-1 range. That maybe it happens tonight. I also got the multi-goal. I didn't bet Ovechkin to score a goal because I don't like the price. You got to lay a price with it. But 2 goals, you get a pretty solid price, upwards of plus 500 or so. And, of course, you got the hat trick prop in the 25-1 range. So I sprinkled on both of those here tonight. There's other props I like, but first we'll talk about Alex here and what he likes here with Blackhawks taking on the Capitals.
All right, well, let's talk Ovechkin first before anything else. And I know, like I said, a lot of people like taking that hat trick prop, which it shop around because earlier today you could have gotten 35-1 on Chicago being the team that Ovechkin scores the record goal against, as opposed to 20 or 25-1 for the hat trick. So if you like the hat trick, if you think he gets 3 goals and sets the record tonight, please shop around to try and find it. A lot of it's listed as grade 8 chase or the grade 8 chase, however. So shop around for that if you like that prop. I just laid the 135 this morning with him to score a goal anytime. That now has moved to minus 140, 145. I still would probably take it now because they'll probably close 150 or 160. And that's going to be the storyline until he gets the record. You're going to be laying a price with him. But I did lay that price. And I also like goals early. Of course, like I said, that's a great run with the Hawks or just a team, an opponent minus 400 favorite scoring a goal. And we've seen the Hawks cash in that spot most of the time with that great record. So at minus $1.10 at DraftKings, I did take a shot with Hawks to get a goal in the first period. I also went with both teams to score plus 154, and then that's in the hopes of securing those 2 pre-games so I can try and get a better price on first period over. I'm not laying 180 with a over 1.5. I'm just not going to do that. But I'm going to try and get it down to a minus 145 or better with another book. But I'm seeing some exorbitant prices pregame with that first period over. But I do like that. So both teams to score, Hawks to get a goal in the first period, and Ovechkin anytime goal. Like I said, I would up to minus 145. That's still worth the price for me.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, this is a chance for him to get it tonight because we know Chicago, they've been very giving this year at the defensive end of the ice. That being said, maybe a little resistance will be faced because Spencer Knight is slated to start tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks. And certainly, he gives them, I think, a little bit better chance to subdue Washington than, say, Arvid Soderblom does. There's no question. But probably going to be bombarded here tonight. And the one thing, too, about that he was great against Colorado, first of all, must be said. Spencer Knight was great. But Colorado wasn't really on their toes that night. Washington will be. Washington's coming for bear here because they got thrashed by Carolina. I think they want to obviously show a lot better here tonight on home ice. They know Ovechkin's closing in on the record. So I think you're going to get a hell of an effort from Washington here tonight. And can Chicago stand up to that? Defensively in particular. That's going to be the big concern going into tonight.
Yeah.
Perlo is with us. Go ahead.
I was just going to say quickly before we get to you, Perlo. But had this been a Soderblom start, I would have taken the shot with the 2 goals and 3 goals over. I just feel like maybe this is a night where I think a lot of different Capitals could score, including Ovechkin. So that's why I went with just the 1 goal.
There we go. Good stuff indeed. Perlo is now with us here on this Friday edition. Perlo, welcome in. Before you talk Chicago-Washington, I'll just go back to the Carolina-Detroit game. We already talked about it. Your thoughts on it, Hurricanes and Red Wings?
Yeah, one thing about Carolina, and the reason why I've been on Carolina now at the end, is they are one of the most probably the most well-conditioned team in the NHL. So it's a perfect time for them to really bank points, get themselves in a situation where they're going in hot into the playoffs. I mean, a Brind'Amour-led team, that you're going to have to be well conditioned. And a lot of teams, next time when we have this again, I'm going to take a look at teams that I think are not well conditioned and be fading them down the stretch. But I don't think Detroit's going to score much here. That's basically the big thing for me. Detroit team total under, you can get at minus 115. I think that's the best way to go here. If you look at the way that Detroit has been playing, like when they played against St. Louis, they just played as defensive as they possibly could and just tried to hang on to the end and hopefully grab a point. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. I would also look at who's going to be in net. It's going to be Talbot. Talbot over saves maybe if he happens to save enough, because Carolina's probably going to be shooting a lot. Like they always do. And we know that Carolina has a tendency to make goaltenders look good, even a goaltender like Talbot. I do have a little bit on the draw, just in case that. So, like, Detroit does want this game. And if they can fight to the end at plus 340, I don't think it's a bad look. If Detroit's ever going to be up for a game, it's going to be this one. And they just might be able to hold on to a draw. I got a little bit on that, and I have Hurricanes and Reg. I think the Hurricanes are definitely winning this game now. So if you want to use it as a parlay of minus, what is it, 200, 210 now? Yeah. Something like that, I wouldn't. I definitely would support that for sure. What else do I have? Okay, the rest I have is props like Blake and stuff like that, and I'm going to be posting those all in my community group. Go sign up. You can catch me at Perla's NHL POW. I got a group going there. It's growing fast. We're having fun. You'll get all my props, and I'll put all my picks today. Since there's only 3 games, I'll put all my picks in there as well.
Nice.
There you go. Carolina, Detroit. He likes, and I knew Perla was on Carolina because he mentioned it on the betcast last night. Yeah. The only thing I don't like is I don't like a favorite like this against the team that could be more motivated, which to me is Detroit. And that's the only thing. But like I said, Detroit has shown me many times before, motivation or not, against better teams, they just don't measure up. And we'll see if that happens. And Carolina's won 6 straight in the series over Detroit. So it's a fascinating game. That's why I'm lukewarm on it pregame. I want to see what Detroit's looking like. If they're really all over Carolina, maybe then I'll jump in live on Detroit. But like I said, I want to see it before I believe it first. All right, Chicago, Washington, Perlo, take it away.
Okay, well, it's finding ways to bet this game is the most difficult thing. And one way that I found that I think could go very well is I think we're going to see goals early here. I think Washington's going to come out early, and I'm with you. You got to take the Chicago to score in the first for sure. Washington, I think, should be focused on offense in this game, so Chicago should get a few goals. But I like 2 goals to be scored within the first 10 minutes. At plus 310, you can get that at plus 310. And in a game where basically everything is chalk, that might be your best play here. I think you'll see goals early and often here by Washington. As it goes down the stretch, you may see it kind of fade off. But and also, like, if there is a time for Leonard to score, this is the timer here. So I like Leonard ATG as well. It's not just going to be all Ovechkin here, I don't think. As I came in, I heard Alex talking about it. There's going to be a lot of great props in this game. So again, another thing you could do is Capitals money line and over 5.5 is plus 100. So you can do that.
That's pretty good, actually. Yep.
I think
Washington's going to win. That's good value. Yep.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
Combo bet.
Yeah. That's what I got. I think, of course, Ovechkin 2 goals. Oh, here's one. Here's a prop you might want to look at. This Levchenov kid, man, he is looking really good. They got him on the power play. He's a wonderful passer. His first pass out of the zone.
He's got good offensive skill set. They got to be liking the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
For him.
Yes.
Yep.
And you can get him for an assist at plus 190. I like that. Also, I'm going to throw a little bit just because I think Chicago might get a couple here, and I think he'll probably be involved if it does happen. You can get him for 2 assists at plus 900. I'm going to throw a little bit on that too.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 assist props are
2 points plus 900. Likely it won't be a goal because he's not really a goal scorer. But.
Yeah, you would expect it to be assist, but sometimes with the defensemen that are always a threat, like a Jake Sanderson is someone I'll always take 2 points over 2 assists because especially lately, Jake Sanderson's starting to shoot the puck and score goals again. So it just depends on the defenseman and just how much frequency he is scoring compared to facilitating. That's the
with Sorensen's system. With Sorensen's system in the rush too. defensemen jump in the rush, and so you get some better value actually with some of the defensemen for the Hawks, like Lishinov, Del Mastro. Those guys kind of join the rush, and they aren't afraid to fire the puck on net. So
maybe
They
look
are.
at an HEG too. I bet you that's a really good price. So.
Yeah, so there's definitely some good props there in that game overall as well. I do want to mention as far as point streaks, Taylor Hall for Carolina, 5 straight. Seth Jarvis 5 in this game. We've got Dylan Strome. I like Dylan Strome to score too. He's got the Chicago connection as well from being there before. So Dylan Strome, probably worth a shot. Of course, we've got in this game. I'm just trying to see. Actually, not a whole lot of players in multiple goal streaks as of late for these two teams. But Tom Wilson, Brodus, we've talked about both of them. I think this could be the Ryan Leonard night as well. I think the Ryan Leonard shot, in the north of plus 300 range is not bad. I thought he was closer to scoring the other night against Carolina than he was against Boston. I think he looked a little more. The team didn't play well, but I thought Ryan Leonard actually looked a little bit more comfortable out there, and will continue to get more comfortable probably as he gets more games under his belt. Donato is, yes, always target number 1 for me with Chicago right now as far as finding the back of the net. Obviously, he's had a great season for them. No question about it. All right, Minnesota Wild, New York Islanders, final game of this Friday night slate. We've got the Islanders minus 125 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. This is my draw bet of the day for sure. It's not just, you don't even have to think twice about it. It's got all the makings of a game that's got overtime potential. It's East versus West. Minnesota's in their own battle to solidify a wild card spot in the Western Conference. The Islanders are on the outside looking in, trying to somehow battle back in the race for the Eastern Conference wild card. They need to stop the bleeding. They've lost 6 in a row. They're not going to care if Minnesota gets a point. And Minnesota, meanwhile, they've gone to overtime or a shootout in each of the first 2 games of this little New York area road trip. The Devils game went to past regulation. And, of course, the Rangers game the other night did as well. So this is definitely just an easy decision here for me to bet the draw here with the Wild and the Islanders. A small bet for me on the over. I don't love this. I want to stress this. I don't love this over. But I've been riding the Islander overs. It had been 8 straight Islander games over the total. That streak got snapped by their 4-1 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning the other night. But I'm going to come back to it one more time here between these two teams. And to be honest with you, you would be surprised by this. The game in Minnesota between these two teams actually had 9 goals, 6-3. It was in favor of the Minnesota Wild. So I'm going to ride the Islander over one more time. If it loses again tonight, then we'll jump off for good. So a small over, 5.5, and the draw for me here, Wild and Islanders. And, of course, Patrick Waugh and the Anthony Duclair situation came to a head. We know Waugh called out Duclair after the Tampa Bay loss. They're phrasing it like Anthony Duclair initiated the leave of absence, saying he wanted some time away. I think they kind of sent him away and just framed it like that when it's all said and done. But either way, Anthony Duclair is obviously not going to be in the lineup here tonight for the New York Islanders. This is a game they have to have. We can officially, I think, say good night to the New York Islanders and their season is history, capito, finished if they don't find a way to get 2 points here tonight in this game. Alex, what do you think here, Wild Islanders?
Yeah, I'm on the draw as well. Grabbed plus 320 earlier at BetMGM. That's the best price I'm finding available. So definitely shop around and try and grab anything above 300. I also would look at the over, but I've been looking at in-game. And it's not an over by fact to look in-game either. This is one where I could see maybe be kind of a little slow early. Maybe we can look waiting for 4.5. Halfway through the first or even to the second period. So that's the way I have this looked at as far as totals go. I know, like I said, the Islanders streak, that 8-1 run, the last 9. And like I said, last meeting being a bit high scoring. This could turn into a high scoring affair late, especially if the Owls are trailing. Like I said, knowing this is for their playoff lives. And it's Patrick Waugh. Who knows what we could see 3-1 in the third period with 11 or 12 minutes left in the third, and all of a sudden he's pulling the goalie. So we might see all kind of chaos. So I will be definitely targeting some live overs to go along with a little bit of the draw at plus 320.
Well, and the thing, too, about the 2 goalies tonight, which is why I said, you know what, I'm going to end up taking another shot here with another Islanders over here, especially at 5.5. Gustafson, what's troubling you, Gus? What's troubling Gus? You know what's troubling Gus right now? He's not been as good. That's what's troubling him the last few starts. He's had multiple 5-goal allowances for the Minnesota Wild. 2 of his last 3 starts. He gave up 5 to Jersey at home. He gave up 5 to the Rangers the other night in a loss to New York. So he's been a little bit unsteady. And you don't have to hear from me about what I think of Ilya Sorokin right now. I don't think he's been very good lately. Ilya Sorokin. Every game I've watched him play lately, he's given up a Dairy Queen softie or a goal that he shouldn't allow. And he's 0-4, by the way, in his last 4 starts. He's given up 3, 4, 4, 3, 3 in the last 5 starts. The Tampa and Vancouver games in particular were rough. He's struggling with his confidence right now. So you got a goalie on one side that's given up 5 in 2 of the last 3 starts, Gustafson, and you've got a guy in Sorokin that in his last 4 consecutive starts, actually 5 consecutive starts, he's given up at least 3 goals, which is why at 5.5, I think the over was worth a shot again. Perlo, what do you think here? Minnesota Wild, New York Islanders.
Well, one thing I've been doing with the Minnesota Wild, and it's been working really well, even in that Rangers game where it was 5-4, there was no goal scored in the first 10 minutes. And it has been money for me. No goals scored in the first 2 minutes when the Minnesota Wild play. They generally, and both of these teams actually, the Islanders, what they like to do in the first 10 is they like to get their mojo going and try to break down the defense as much as possible so they can hopefully score later. That's going to be a tough task with the Wild with the way they play. They clog up the neutral zone. They're going to be forced to dump and chase. And they do. Minnesota's really, really good in front of the net. You got Brodin. You got a lot of good guys there that can play in front of the net, and they usually are on the ice a lot in the first 10 minutes. You can get that at plus 154. So I like that to get a little plus money to start off with. I'm not going to put huge on it. As far as the draw is without a doubt, plus 320. This is so draw. It is unbelievable. 2 teams from different conferences. The Wild really would be happy with a point. The Islanders would be happy with more, but they generally end up either losing it in the third or maybe they score one late. I kind of lean more, as far as the side is concerned, I know the trend, but I kind of lean more to the under here, but I'm not going to bet it. And I like the Wild to win the game. I just think that the Islanders in these spots, bad teams just lose. They just do. And the Islanders are a bad team. I like the Wild's mojo a little more. I like their fight back a little more. And I like the fact that they score goals the way you want to score goals on the Islanders. And that's get in front of the net and get tips. Vinny Hinostroza would be a good pick here. Somebody like that. They do that very well. So I'm going to put a little bit on the Wild. And another thing I'm going to do I've really been doing well in goalie props. I know Gustafson hasn't been playing fantastic, but again, the Islanders are one of these teams that make goalies look good. They generally don't pick the corners. They play tight and they shoot a lot. In all their losses, they usually get over 30 shots. And if they do that today, and I think they likely will, I'm going to take Gustafson over 26.5 saves as well. You can get that at minus 125 at DK. I'm not putting a ton on any of these because it is one of those games where you never know something. Like it's one of anything funky can happen in this game. So, but the draw I really like, and I really like that under first 10 minutes.
Well, look, they've had 30 shot on goal allowance games, the Minnesota Wild, 4 of their last 5 games. Yeah. So they've been giving up more shot volume. And I think for the Islanders, this is their season on the line. Yeah. They have to win this. So I expect them to be ripping puck maybe more often than maybe they normally do. And so I think it makes a ton of sense, honestly. Philip Gustafson over, I think it's 26.5 with 26.5 saves props with him. Makes a ton of sense. I think it's probably
get a better look. I didn't look around too much, so look around. Hopefully you can get better than minus 1.
I'll be betting more of those goalie props, but that'll be in the playoffs. Playoffs is definitely when I'll be like when a team's down 2-0 in a series and they need that game 3. That's teams I'll be targeting for the the goalie of the other team, I should say, is who I'll be targeting for over saves. Spots like that. in the playoffs, certainly. But that's a good one. Gustafsson over 26.5 saves, because this is empty the tank time for Patrick Waugh's team. This is it for them. There is no postseason. There's probably still isn't anyway, because I don't think they're catching Montreal, but there is no postseason at all for sure. 100% if they do not win and emerge with 2 points tonight. It's that simple. They have to have it. No question about it. Prop-wise, you're right. Vinny Hinostroza, you mentioned him. There's probably a little bit of value with where he is in the lineup right there for Minnesota, although they might have him on the third line. We'll see. Zuccarello scored against the Rangers. That was a pretty good call. Foligno still on that top line. If he stays there, I could see him maybe finding the back of the net. I think for the Islanders, if I'm going to bet anybody, Engvall's actually picked it up. I don't know if that's going to continue, but I'm looking more at Holmstrom, and I would look at any combo. It's got to be those guys, the top line. Palmieri, Horvat, and the captain Anders Lee. Those are the guys that are really going to have to make it happen offensively for the Islanders in this game tonight in a must-have. It's Palmieri, Horvat, and Anders Lee on that top line. So we'll see if they're able to maybe contribute offensively tonight. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Hit the like button. Over 300 live viewers. We appreciate all of you for sure. When we thank everybody for being a Patreon member and joining us on the Betcast last night. If you aren't a Patreon member yet, you'd like to be, and you don't want to miss out on the next Betcast, well, there's still plenty of time, because we've got obviously 2 more Patreon exclusive live Betcasts coming your way next week. Tuesday, April the 8th and Thursday, April the 10th. 2 Betcasts next week. Both of them Patreon exclusive. So if you missed this Betcast last night, make sure you get on board. $10 per month. Patreon.com/IceGuys. You'll get goalie charts, totals charts, and again, of course, our daily card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. You will also, of course, see access to our live chat room, live betting chat room as well on the Patreon page, access to all our bonus content, more Players Suite interviews coming up in the spring and summer, and, of course, every single Patreon exclusive live Betcast. You'll have access to it by signing up on the Patreon page for just $10 per month. And again, your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show long term. So make sure you get on board. 2 Patreon exclusive live Betcasts next week, Tuesday and Thursday. Sign up if you haven't already. $10 per month, patreon.com/IceGuys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You got 4 days left to save 20% off on all items at the store right now. So go on to iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Click on the redeem button at the home page. Add all your items to your cart. 20% will be taken out at checkout. Everything's fully in stock right now, too, as well. So this is a great time, a good weekend to stock up, get something new for the spring and summer, get something to wear during the playoffs, and support the podcast for sure. That's iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Check it out and get involved on the 4 days left to take advantage of it. iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment. We had 2 bargain bin winners. We'll try for more tonight. Best bets as well coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey, Ian, I got to tell you about this app I've been using lately called Kalshi. Kalshi.com. Did you know it's the only place where you can trade on March Madness in all 50 U.S. states?
I have heard about this, actually. Kalshi is the first and only legal prediction market that lets you trade on real-world events with the look and feel of stock trading. Whether it's who will win elections, who will win the Grammy or Oscar awards, or what the price of Bitcoin will hit this year, you can bet you trade on just about anything on Kalshi.
With over 1 million users across all 50 states and over $1 billion worth of trades, Kalshi is an absolute game changer. And with March Madness coming to a close, baseball about to get in the full swing, playoffs on the horizon in hockey and basketball, now's the time to sign up to trade with Kalshi today.
Sign up at kalshi.com/iceguys, and the first 500 traders to join and trade 100 contracts, you will get a free $10 credit added to your account. So don't miss out on all the action. Join Kalshi today at kalshi.com/iceguys. That's kalshi.com/iceguys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, including, of course, Boston Hemp Inc. 20% off using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com, and Kalshi. Not just sports, but politics, crypto, entertainment, you name it. Anything you can trade there. Kalshi.com/IceGuys. Go check it out. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Matty Robinson, Matt Duchene over 1.5 points. One of my two hit with Cole Perfetti for the Winnipeg Jets into the empty net against Vegas last night at plus 430. See if we can find some more gems and diamonds in the rough in the bargain bin. Alex, bargain bin special. What do you like?
Yep, heading out to the nation's capital tonight. You got the Hawks taking on the Caps. Of course, everybody's going to be focused on number 8, Alex Ovechkin. But I think one player in particular who has really been developing his game in the first couple of games he's had in the NHL, and it's for the Chicago Blackhawks, is Oliver Moore. He's had a couple of high chances to get a goal, and I think he gets his first one tonight. You can get him at DraftKings, anytime goal scorer, plus 500 available. So that's Oliver Moore for the Chicago Blackhawks. That's my Friday bargain bin special.
There we go. I like it. Little off the grid. Oliver Moore, Chicago Blackhawks for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night for this Friday card. And like I said, wow, it's a pretty good price you can get with Oliver Moore, upwards of plus 850. Boy, that is definitely value right there on him. All right, Perlo, bargain bin special. What do you got?
I can't decide between two, so I'm going to put 2 in there. If I'm right about Carolina, I think they're going to score pretty well tonight. And the reason why also I like Carolina is because ever since they brought up Blake and they put him on the top line, they brought in Stankoven, those kids. Stankoven, it's inserted an energy in them. Those kids are, Stankoven is not as much of a kid, but they have been playing with a lot of balls. They've been happy to get out of Chicago. So I'm taking Blake over 1.5 points at plus 450. And over in the Washington game as well, if Ovechkin's going to score today, and I think that will be part of the thing that they want to do, I think Dubois is sitting there right beside him as far as I can. Make sure that this is going to be the case because quite often it's Strome, but they have him with Dubois today. And I'm going to take him over 1.5 assists at plus 550. If Ovechkin is going to score a couple, Dubois will probably be in there. And I think there'll be a lot of goals scored anyways, so Dubois will probably be in there with a few assists as well. So you can get that at plus 550.
There you go. A couple of bargain bin specials here for our guy Perlo, going towards Jackson Blake for Carolina, and also PLD right there for the Washington Cat. You're down with PLD? Yeah, you know me. And a big night we'll see maybe for him in the Washington Capitals. All right, my bargain bin special of the night here for this one. This one was nothing really jumped off the page compared to some nights for me on the bargain bin special. from a bargain bin standpoint here, I should say, for the slate tonight. But I'm going to go with a guy that has cashed a couple of times for me earlier in the year for the Detroit Red Wings. Kochekhov's been a little bit leaky of late. I'm going to go to our guy Marco Casper, the friendly betting ghost, at plus 460 here tonight at FanDuel to find the back of the net. And one thing I've noticed about Casper is a lot of his goals have come at the Pizza Box, Little Caesars Arena. So we'll see if he continues that trend of home scoring for the Detroit Red Wings tonight. So Marco Casper plus 460 for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets for this Friday. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, let's look at that Carolina-Detroit game. Like I said, we don't trust either of the goalies. Don't trust Kochetkov. He's been in kind of a poor form of late. Don't trust Cameron Talbot. I think this game can get out of hand with some goals. And I like that over 5.5, minus 120 that's available still at FanDuel. We'll go Canes, Red Wings. Over 5.5 is my Friday best bet.
All right, there you go. Canes and Wings over 5.5 in Detroit for Alex B. Smith with his best bet. Nope, not my turn yet. Perlo's turn for best bet. Perlo, what do you got?
First of all, it's been awesome being on here, and I thank you guys for having me on. It's great. So today I thought, because I didn't really have like a clear best bet, today I thought I'd give ode to Alex. I didn't think he was going to be on today. I'm going to give ode to Alex, and I'm going to take the draw in the Rangers-Minnesota game. So
Islanders, Minnesota, but we
Islanders, Minnesota game. I'm going to take the draw at plus 320.
Alex is proud of you. I'm sure of it.
That's awesome. Good stuff. It was almost my best bet. So yeah, so that's good thing.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't pick it. And if he didn't pick it, I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to do this. Good. Big ups to Alex. Let's do
that's one draw bet that might be best bet worthy for sure. It definitely feels like just a really and plus Minnesota's gone to overtime or a shootout in both games on this New York trip so far. The Rangers and the Devils. We'll see if that continues here for them tonight. All right, my best bet. I'm just going to go to Chicago, Washington, and go with the first period over. Now the price has gotten a little up there with this. It was certainly better when I took it earlier in the day. Shop around minus 145, minus 150 is still out there at a few books, but it's a little pricey, but we're rolling with it. 6 straight for Washington, 20-4 first period over run for Washington. We're going to take it tonight. Blackhawks, Capitals, over 1.5, minus 150 in the first period for my best bet here for this Friday card. All right, there you have it. That's a wrap. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, we got a huge Saturday card coming up tomorrow at noon Eastern. We're very much looking forward to that, no doubt. So excited about that. And a big Saturday slate ahead. So make sure you join us tomorrow. Perlo will be back, of course, on Monday. And a great job by him as always. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Perlo, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back tomorrow, Saturday at noon Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.